Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about the Pauper Metagame. And as with all of my metagames, this is technically a winner's metagame since Magic Online only posts top 32s of challenges, but is still reflective of the overall metagame. Let's jump into it. So this is the Pauper Metagame. At the very top, just like we did Pauper a few weeks ago, is Bogles. In second, Jund Brood Scale combo. Sharing in third and fourth is Grixis Affinity and Golgari Brood Scale combo. And then in fifth is Burn. If you want to check out this graph for a little bit longer, please be sure to pause the video so you can go ahead and do that. One thing I'd like to note immediately is the Brood Scale combo decks are very, very similar to each other, Jund and Golgari. So really, I mean, it's almost 20% of the format are very close to the same deck. So I would call that number one as opposed to Bogles, but you know, it is what it is. Let's talk about these decks starting with Burn. Burn is your premier aggro deck in the format. It's playing very, very cheap cards. There's a little bit of an artifact synergy with Experimental Synthesizer and Clockwork Percussionist alongside Kuldotha Rebirth to get a bunch of creatures. And then once you have a bunch of really small creatures that you got very, very cheaply, you can play Goblin Bushwhacker, deal a ton of damage all at once, and then finish off your opponent with cards like Galvanic Blast, Chain Lightning, and Lightning Strike. The Grixis Affinity deck is the premier mid-range deck of the format. It capitalizes on artifact synergies, playing things very, very cheap like Refurbished Familiar and Mirror Enforcer, alongside things that sacking artifacts lets you draw more cards and give you a larger advantage, and some artifacts that want to be sacrificed like Ichor Wellspring and deal more damage with Galvanic Blast and all of that stuff. And even though it doesn't look like it on its surface, this deck draws so many cards. And it's outcards their opponent, answers their stuff one for one, plays things for cheap or free, and calls it a day. The Golgari Brood Scale combo and the Jund Brood Scale combo are really similar decks. The Golgari Brood Scale combo, it is a combo deck that attempts to play sadistically while you have a Basking Brood Scale out, have something die to trigger sadistically, put a +1/+1 counter on Basking Brood Scale, get a Scion, sack Scion to itself to make a mana, trigger Basking Brood Scale, get a Scion, sack Scion to itself to make a mana, trigger Basking Brood Scale, get a Scion. So you effectively get an infinite Basking Brood Scale because you get to put infinite +1/+1 counters by just following that loop, and you get infinite colorless mana, and you kill your opponent from there. The Golgari Brood Scale combo is in the shell of a Golgari mid-range deck that is attempting to answer them one for one. And then if we look at the number 2 deck, technically, which is a Jund Brood Scale combo, they have the same initial strategy. However, they're able to play Breath Weapon in the sideboard and able to play Writhing Chrysalis in the main deck. So basically there's a better secondary plan in the Jund Brood Scale deck, where there's a better primary plan in the Golgari Brood Scale deck. And then the most popular deck technically in the format is Bogles. What Bogles is attempting to do, or a hexproof deck, is play hexproof creatures like Gladecover Scout and Slippery Boggle, put a bunch of enchantments on it to make it really, really big, have lifelink, trample, all of that stuff, and then go really, really tall with that one hexproof creature and kill their opponents. It's the long and short. It's a very good, very focused deck that is really hard to deal with without sacrifice effects. But that is the Pauper metagame. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social media. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.